Is this real life? Is this really happening?
Oh,
Have we returned? We returned. Unbelievable. Kevin, are you there? Are you popping it? Come on.
I was trying to, and then it started to leak out.
The can got to be too much for you, champ? He's out of practice, boys.
Exactly.
I want it in the glass, not on my floor. Okay.
Well, I already have our first. Well, we should restart our Patreon. Let me start out with that. And our first thing that we're going to get Kevin better internet. That is our first first order of business.
I mean, mind you, I pay like $95 a month for AT&T fiber, and look what it gets me.
Fiber.
Huh.
My goodness. Wow.
Yeah, fiber. This is fiber, and look what happens.
Kevin, do you ever wonder if it's a user issue?
It could be a senior.
You gotta realize,
is that what you're saying?
When I was growing up, we were writing on stone. You know, I mean, to be fair.
It's true. Senior citizens do have a hard time with technology.
Exactly.
We'll sign you up for a class at the community center.
And 3, 2, 1.
Thank you.
Nailed it. Hey, how about we do a podcast? Well, we did 170 or 60 something straight, and then took a break. Took a over 200-day break. But that's okay. That's okay. Baseball went, and it's at the end of the season now. Playoffs. I think there's a game going on right now, so a perfect time to have our debut show and getting back into the flow of this. So why don't we do it, guys? Let's start from the top. Welcome back to the Baseball Brew Crew Podcast. We are keeping baseball history alive, one craft beer at a time. Wherever you are watching or listening to us, please give us a like and a follow. And if you love beer with your baseball, please tell a friend. Here is the lineup card for today. And as you can tell, we have a new acquisition. He is the Big Hurt, Allan Jepsen, our first international signing, by the way. Yep. Allan, how are you doing?
Fantastic. How are you guys doing?
Great. So where are you broadcasting from? And give us a little bit of your background as a baseball fan.
Sure. I'm currently in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. Huge Mariners fan, just a huge baseball fan in general. I've, traveled, I guess, all over the world now to see some baseball and museums and everything else. And, I'm just excited to throw some opinions around.
Love it. And you're one of our favorite too, because you're a huge craft beer fan.
Absolutely.
So I'm not gonna give you the you don't have to say the numbers. You don't have to give the stats. But let's say, are you? What is your favorite style of beer?
Probably currently it's probably in the Belgians. So somewhere in there is kind of currently, but lagers and pilsners generally. Used to be sours, which Kevin remembers, but yeah, it's pretty much lagers and pilsners at this point.
Very, very cool. Well, welcome. We're very glad to have you. You've been a guest of ours before, but now you are a team member and batting leadoff for the Baseball Brew Crew. But we also have some old favorite, and I'm gonna emphasize old here. Batting second is the field correspondent and senior, and I stress senior research analyst for the Baseball Brew Crew. It is Kevin Lyon. How are you doing?
I'm doing well as long as my internet apparently holds up. What is this thing? I mean, I was trying to use my my Canon string to make a banana phone or whatever I'm supposed to do. Hopefully you can hear me all right, because if not, just let me know and I'm going to try to use my old technology.
Perfect.
Just to clear that up, you said a can and a string to make a banana phone?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
Got it.
Yes. Got it. Yes, sir. I have to
can't all be winners, boys. They can't all be winners.
Oh, I'm definitely not a winner right now, apparently, my internet.
Thank you, David, for joining. Yeah, we're seeing some old favorites here. Poor Decision, which is my brother Adam in Arizona, and I'll tell you later about mine. But I have to introduce somebody else here. He is batting in the 3-hole. He is the Goodwill Ambassador and the Sultan of Swig at the Baseball Brew Crew. It is Cowboy Jack Durango from Arizona. How you doing tonight?
Good evening. For the next hour or so, craft beer and baseball enthusiasts from around the globe will be launching the greatest podcast in the history of mankind. Mankind, that word should have a new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interests of baseball history and craft beer. You will once again be fighting for our freedom, not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from the lack of baseball and beer-centric podcasts. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, the Baseball Brew Crew will no longer be known as an American podcast, but we shall be known as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go soberly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate the Baseball Brew Crew.
Cheers, my friend. And you know what? I don't have my soundboard, so I'll dub in post some applause, also some cheering.
Note to self, write in Cowboy Jack Durango for my ballot for president. Is that okay, Jack?
Exactly.
I mean, I already see Poor Decision won a 2028 run. I might go 4 years early. You know, four extra years. Let's go 4 years early.
I like that. Perfect. Well, my name is Michael Mondragon. I'll be your humble host for the festivities tonight. I am broadcasting from Cowboy Jack's area in Arizona. So I'm no longer going to fall into the West Coast. But when California falls in and makes Arizona Bay, hey, I'll have some beachfront property, right?
Fantastic.
So that's all.
That's my strategy. Playing the long game.
Playing the long game, indeed. Well, as tradition on the show, we always bring a new and unique craft beer to review and enjoy. So, guys, what craft beer are you drinking tonight? I'm actually going to start with Allan. I want to know what you're having tonight.
I'm drinking a beer league lager from Central City Brewers, which is just down the street from me. It's a great beer to have while playing slow pitch or talking on a podcast. Nice.
So let's see that can. So that this one has a hockey on it, but yours actually has the one with the baseball on it. What makes this one different? And what's the alcohol percentage on that one?
At 5%.
5%. Oh, it actually says it on the can right there. Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know why they decided to do baseball in the cans, but hockey on the box. But yeah, not going to complain.
Nice. So I actually I did the research on this beer as well, and it's a best-in-class craft beer with easy drinking flavor. Whether you are celebrating a big game or simply looking for a refreshing craft lager, shoot and score with Beer League. How about that? Nice tagline there.
Yeah, good marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you been to this brewery or is it just like a big brewery there?
No, it's literally a walking distance from my house. It's the closest brewery to us. We haven't gone as much as we go to other ones, but just because they had weird hours for a couple of years there post-COVID there. So they're starting to get better hours, but they do some pretty good cocktails there as well.
Very cool. And I also see that it's mosaic hop. So and then the food pairings, lighter foods, pizza and seafood. So I'm in.
Pizza works.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for bringing that. Cowboy Jack Durango, you're going to be talking about a Philadelphia brewery?
Yes, sir. 2 weeks ago on October 5th, the Mets played the Phillies in the city of brotherly love for the first game in their playoff series. Cowboy Jack just happened to be in Philly that night, not to watch Pete Alonso roll an orange and blue pain train over the Fightin' Phils. Cowboy Jack was in the city of brotherly love with his smoking hot wifeski to see our 9th Tom Sandoval in the Most Extras concert. If you are new to the show or if you live under a rock, Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras is pound for pound the greatest live music experience that has ever been had by mortal men. Jason, Maddie, Casper, Aubrey, 24/7 Kevin, and the main man himself, Tom Sandoval, put on a hell of a show that left yours truly asking, how do they keep doing it? Back to my beer. During the trip, I noticed that a lot of sad Philly fans were drowning their sorrows in a local craft beer, so I had to hashtag do the research. Yards Brewing Company has been brewing, bottling, kegging, and canning craft beer for the hardworking good brothers and good sisters in the Philly metropolitan area since 1994. Their motto of brew unto others has encouraged the folks of Philly to get together not only to enjoy each other's company, but enjoy Yard's top shelf brews. From their classic beer line that includes the funny named Brawler Champion Ale to their recent 8-bit line of hazy citrus IPAs that I know would be right up Kevin's alley, Yards has exactly what we are looking for here at the Baseball Brew Crew. Kick-ass beers. For all the light beer lovers out there, Allan, this one might be up your alley. Fear not, because Yards brews up a no-frills, no bells and whistles beer named Philly Standard that keeps the crowds at Citizens Bank Park satisfied when Kyle Schwarber takes the plate. Kyle Schwarber, in fact, loves this beer so much that when he goes yard, you all go yard. Anytime Kyle hits a home run, Yards will give away a Philly Standard beer to you on Kyle Schwarber's tab. It's an awesome connection that they've made with baseball out there. And my friends, if you find yourself in the city known as the birthplace of America, make sure to visit Yards Brewing. Their state-of-the-art tap room in downtown, have them pour you a crisp, icy cold Philly Standard and drink one to the hardworking people of Philadelphia. And don't forget to let them know Cowboy Jack Durango sent you.
Awesome. And again, a beer and baseball connection. I also love that they have like amazing gear as well. So it's like you can't lose with this one. This is right up our alley. And it's unfortunate the Phillies lost in the playoffs, but it's like, I mean, you can see, I mean, Schwarber did great this year. And again, I don't know how a guy he bats just above 200 and he hit so many home runs this year, but he's become like a real prolific hitter. So, but now he has a beer too. Did you have this beer, Jack?
I did not sample it. In full transparency, I'm on the sparkling water train. But I do love the connection that he has with this brewery, and I mean it's really got that brewery involved in a lot of Philly stuff. I mean they sell it in the stadium. They are deeply connected, and dude, walking around the streets of Philly, before the game, everybody had on a Phillies jersey, man. Yeah. Like it was the most hometown baseball crowd that I've seen. So. Yeah, and being close to New York, I figured there'd be some Mets. Zero Mets gear, bro. So people in Philly love their baseball, dude. And I mean, Yard making this connection and Schwarber being involved, it's awesome for them. It's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't definitely even know about check that. It out. I had no knowledge of this before this, and then the fact that you found it is very cool.
Yeah, they're a neat place, man. They're a neat place. I encourage everybody to go check it out. Food's great, in everything. It's fantastic.
Kevin, can't hear you.
Here, Kevin, you just keep talking and I'll do the words. I need to go outside and yell at some clouds. I give up. Wah, wah, wah.
Well, we actually need him for the next. We actually need him for the next segment. So.
We do need him for the next segment, so you better figure it out.
Well, the next segment and the next beer.
You had the same beer as me, sir, so it's okay. You know.
Perfect.
I love it when he comes in hot, dude.
And I didn't get to do my bit. I was going to say, Jack, I've not been allowed in Philadelphia since 1770s when I cracked the Liberty Bell.
Sure.
I mean, there's that too. And, you know, I forgot to mention this. Michael, are you aware that while Jack was in Philadelphia, he did some training to get ready for the Baseball Brew Crew return? Do you have that ready for me?
You mean that?
Listen, guys, that's a lot of steps, guys.
I know it is. I appreciate the effort, Jack.
That was my 12th time attempting it. So I'd already been up to the top of the mountain 11 times. I was going for a dozen, but I stopped at 11, and that was number 12. So.
All right.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Jack. That was very, very enthusiastic, and I'm afraid for you. We should. I need to work out myself, so maybe we can. Now that I'm in Arizona, we can go to 24-hour fitness or something like that. Is that they have one out here?
I'm sure they have one.
Perfect. Kevin, are you ready?
I hope so.
Go for it, man.
So we have, we have this amazing beer baseball connection. And then Cowboy Jack comes back to us with this Kyle Schwarber. So this is the first time we've had a pitcher, a baseball player, been related to two things we talked about on the Baseball Brew Crew. This beer is called the No Joe for Joe Musgrove. For those longtime viewers of the show, there was a seltzer that was made by Ashland Hart Seltzer, and that was directly connected to Joe Musgrove, and we actually showed the commercial of Joe talking about it. So this is called the No Joe. It's a double IPA, and it's West Coast double IPA with Nelson, Strata, Simcoe, and Citra hops. Michael Mondragon, why don't you tell me about the moment in ST history that connects with this?
So you're saying the actual flavors? The actual flavors, you're saying?
Oh, no, I want to talk about the baseball connection here. Do you want to do that or you want me to? Oh, look, you have it right there. So let's talk about this. April 9th, 2021, San Diego's own Joe Musgrove threw the first no-hitter in the history of his hometown team. Soon after, Resident Brewing brewed this beer with Joe and baked in some numbers of significance to celebrate his accomplishment. The 59 IBU there, he wore number 59 before he was with San Diego. 44 SRM, he now wears number 44. The 8.206 ABV, Musgrove gave San Diego its first no-hitter on the team's 8,206th game. So there you go. You got some great history here with this beer.
Yeah, and actually the 44 has a deeper baseball connection because it's also paying homage to Jake Peavy, who was also 44, who he watched pitch while he was growing up in San Diego.
That's all very impressive how they made those numbers work in a beer.
It's incredible.
Yeah, did they have the Walter White of brewology?
Exactly. Yeah.
How do you make? How do you?
Yeah.
Now, did they just slap it on the can? Is it like 58.725? And they're like, we round up, dude. What are you doing?
You can round up.
You can round up
a little bit. You know.
Yeah.
You're a worker. They're workers too.
I think about that a lot because Kevin, wasn't there a beer from like El Segundo that the guy played like minor league baseball and they put
yes. Yeah, the head brewer, his name was Rob Croxall. He played for like an independent team somewhere in like the Dakotas or somewhere. I don't remember exactly where, Idaho, something like that. And they made a beer with his baseball card as the picture on the beer. And his ERA was like a 9.27 or something like that. And they made the beer with a ABV of 9.27 to match his ERA. Which is one of the best. It was an awesome beer. And I was just so happy to find it.
Tremendous.
You have to get great beer baseball for us.
And all the
And it's tasty.
Yes. And the beer itself actually is very obviously San Diego based. It tastes so San Diego. Like I could, the first time that I had it, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is everything that's great about San Diego beer. Super hoppy. You know, the IBU is only 59, but it's still pretty hoppy. But the alcohol content is kind of what makes it even more dense, and it says super good. It is definitely a West Coast double IPA if there ever was one.
Now, Michael, can I add something? Do you remember when we visited Resident Brewing Company?
Yes, we went after a San Diego Padres game. It was against the St. Louis Cardinals, and it was I got a foul ball, but it was only after it almost killed Kevin.
What might have been, dude. What might have been.
It was during
Harrison Bader almost collected the bounty that's been on me for about a millennia.
Yes, it was during the day. The Nets were not. I mean, we knew that we had to keep our eyes open, kind of the seats that we were. It was probably the closest we've ever been. But Kevin almost lost his life. Yeah. But I got a little ball that I could have paid like $5 for, right? Or $20, Major League Baseball. But it was like,
the reason why I mentioned if any listeners go to, I was gonna say, if any people watching go to Resident Brewing, I hope it's still the case that when we went, Michael, remember I had to tell you need to come to the bathroom with me when we went to Resident Brewing.
Yes, this was very awkward.
I invited him to the bathroom.
And, keep it clean, boys. Keep it clean.
This was very awkward, but there was a great payoff. Go for it.
Wait for it. We walked in, and the entire wallpaper of the men's room was 80s WWF wrestlers.
Oh, wow.
Good.
Yeah.
So I walked in, I saw, like, why am I seeing the Junkyard Dog, Tito Santana, Hulk Hogan on the walls of this bathroom? Like, this is really weird. So then I come out and say, Michael, come to the bathroom with me. And he's looking at me like, what? I'm like, no, trust me, it's all right.
Trust me, it's all right. Famous last words.
Why wouldn't you just go out and say, hey, man, the wallpaper in the restroom is really cool. You should go look at it instead of, hey,
no, that ruins the surprise.
Come to the bathroom with me. Don't worry. It's all right. It's a little much, brother.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you know, I
don't want to ruin the surprise.
Yes. Well, I looked at the missing link and then, you know, I did my business. So there you go. Oh, King Kong Bundy. Okay. So, all right. So let's do it. Okay. So let's get to a big reason why we've come back, and we're going to hit the ground running. We're definitely, I can't believe that it's almost here. This is the 4th year that we've done the Diamond Icons. It's our own little celebration of some baseball people that we love, and we put them in a tournament, and we select 3. So we've whittled the nominees down to 18. I believe before we had 32 or 30. It was definitely a basketball type tournament.
That's 32.
Yeah. So like we whittled it down. So, and then it's a sudden death playoff that we have, and then so we've whittled it down to we whittled it down to 3. So the criterion on this one, we've picked 3 managers, 3 baseball managers, not wrestling managers, baseball managers, 3 non-players, 3 legends, 3 pitchers, 3 infielders, and 3 outfielders. So Kevin, you're going to start us off. You're going to do the very first nominee.
Yes,
so are you ready? Let's do it.
Yeah. I'm ready. And I learned a couple things when I did the research. So do you realize his name is Alfred Manuel Martin Jr.? The reason why he's called Billy is apparently his father abandoned him. So maybe I'm Billy Martin's father and I just didn't know it. I might have just left him high and dry. So it turns out that his grandmother on his mom's side, from lack of English and just upset at, Billy's father, I'm sorry, Alfred's father, started calling him Bello. Oh, Bello, you're Bello, which is beautiful. And then somehow Bello turned to Billy. And if anybody knows about Billy Martin, they know he's quite the cantankerous fellow. Is that the nice word I could say about him being maybe a little bit of a little prickly prick? You never know what you can say about him. But he was actually born in 1928 in Berkeley, California. And as he came up, an important thing that came up with him, through his upbringing, got in a lot of fights. Shocking if you know about him. Definitely needs some anger management training. Jack would know about that, But as I go on, as he came up through the minor league system, he connected with a man by the name of Casey Stengel, who kind of was his mentor, almost like I said, a second father to him. And when he came to the major leagues, it was with the Yankees, with Casey Stengel as his manager. So he had some good mentorship to learn about the fundamentals of baseball, which obviously he's well known for sure, better as a manager than a player. But he won multiple World Series as championships as a Yankee. He was at the Yankees for, I think, about 7-8 year stretch, with a part where he was actually drafted into the Army during the 1950s when that was still a thing, believe it or not. It seems so crazy that would happen nowadays, but that definitely was a thing in the 40s and 50s. And including, he actually helped win a Game 7 with a key catch in the 52 World Series, winning them a championship. So had a few World Championships runs. Then after baseball, went into coaching. And obviously, like I said, he's well known for being a manager, mostly as a Yankee manager. I think he came up in the George Steinbrenner era. Jack, you know how him and George Steinbrenner got along. He had, 5 times he was a manager of the New York Yankees. Literally would be fired, brought back, fired, brought back. But he had success. He won a pennant in 1976. And then 1977 was a big year when they brought Reggie in, and that was the big drama. But somehow through all the drama, they put it together, and Reggie was the straw that stirred the drink, as they say. And Billy helped lead that team to win the World Series in 77, excuse me. Then he got fired in 78. Like I said, 5 runs with them. Enough times he was fired by George Steinbrenner that became a parody, including, Michael, do you have it ready? There was a Miller Lite commercial with them mocking this. Do you have that ready, Michael?
A lot of people think Billy and I argue all the time. Actually, we agree on just about everything. Right, Bill?
Yeah, you betcha, George.
We even drink the same beer.
Light beer from Miller. Light's got 1/3 less calories than the regular beer, and it's less filling.
And the best thing is it tastes so great.
No, George, the best thing is less filling.
No, Bill, it tastes great.
Less filling, George.
Billy, it tastes great.
Less filling, George.
Billy?
Yeah, George.
You're fired.
Oh, not again.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Such good stuff. Loved all those commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin.
So, but he was famous enough to where his number 1 is actually, am I breaking out?
Nope, go for it.
But his number 1 is actually retired by the Yankees. So there is that. He's not a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer even as a manager, but he managed multiple teams throughout his run. I don't have all the handy, but the Rangers, the Yankees. His other famous run was he actually brought the A's back to the province in the early 80s and included what was called Billy Ball. And there's actually a book that he wrote about his time there, to where it was more of an aggressive style of baseball. Like, he was a fiery, obviously, manager, but he knew how to coach people to play baseball, to where he even brought the Athletics out of nowhere to make the ALCS in 81. Unfortunately, lost to the Yankees, but it's what it is. But obviously, he was still angry, drunk. But how I also know him when I was growing up was he was the guest ring announcer at WrestleMania 1, which I watched live on closed circuit at the LA Sports Arena in 1985, March 31st, 1985 to be exact. And that's toward the end of its peak as run as a manager. And unfortunately, and Jack, we might have to do a deep dive on this later. He died in a car accident on Christmas Day, 1989. And it's a really shady story that we might have to investigate further.
Yeah,
it gets a little
hazy.
Simple synopsis of Billy Martin.
Yeah. So our first nominee for the Diamond Icons, Billy Martin. Nicely done. Thank you so much, Kevin. Allan, you are up next. Actually, I wanted to show something here for these pictures. So Billy's back. I did not do this unintentionally because I remember I'm just like, wait a minute, I'm looking at all these Billy's back. They used it for Yogi's back in 1984. So a lot of creativity here.
I mean, that's why they're Sports Illustrated. That's why
Michael,
they get the big bucks.
Michael, I might still have that. I had him sign that SI. I might still have that somewhere in the archives.
That's
here.
crazy. That's crazy. Kevin has like
I'll
a whole
look and
Hall
let
of
you
Fame. All right, Allan, you are up with the second Diamond Icon nominee for 2024.
Sounds good. Our second Diamond Icon nominee is Bullet Rogan. Born July 28, 1893 in the unassigned lands of Oklahoma, Charles Wilbur Rogan, or Bullet Joe, a nickname he earned from his powerful right arm. Not only was he a masterful pitcher, going 120 and 52 over his career, amassing 918 strikeouts using a whole toolbox of pitches. They say he pitched over 1,500 innings, all while finishing with a 2.65 ERA. He split time between the mound and the outfield, where he showed off his power as a hitter as well. At the plate, he hit .338 lifetime, hit 50 home runs, and steal 106 bases, scoring 413 runs and 419 RBIs. They say Bullet Joe swung a heavier bat than the Bambino. They say he threw harder than Page or Smokey Joe Williams. And though he was only 5'7" and 165 pounds, he pitched without a windup.
Wow.
In 1911, he lied about his age and enlisted in the Army and served in the Philippines for 3 years with an all-black regiment. Before returning to the U.S., Rogan re-enlisted with the 25th Infantry, another African-American unit. This was stationed in Hawaii, and that's where he started to play a little bit more pro ball. He was specifically recruited to the regiment's famous team called the Wreckers. He made his debut for the Wreckers in July 4th, 1915. In July 1920, Bullet Rogan joined the Kansas City Monarchs, where he would play for 12 seasons with a few stops in between at the California Winter League, where he'd play for such teams as the Los Angeles White Sox, Philadelphia Royal Giants, and Cleveland Giants. He won the championship every year he played in the California Winter League, which is pretty crazy. With that Philadelphia Royal Giants team, they were a traveling Negro Leagues all-star team, which played in Japan, China, Philippines, and Hawaii. Historian Phil Dixon puts Rogan's lifetime totals against all competition, including semi-pro and Army teams, at more than 350 games won, 2,000 strikeouts, 2,500 hits, and 350 home runs and 500 stolen bases. Cheers to Diamond Icon nominee Bullet Rogan.
Nice. And Kevin, I mean, you brought up Bullet Rogan as far as like he should be. I mean, we should know more about him, correct?
I would love to know more about him, and but it's hard to find that research. Like, something I've been following right now is that we're at the 100th anniversary of the Kansas City Monarchs in the Negro League World Series. Like, if anybody is a big baseball fan, look up Gummy Arts on Instagram. They've been making little, like, he does like artwork on cards every day, and he's been chronicling the 100th anniversary of this Negro League World Series that's going on right now at the Monarchs. And Bullet Rogan's on a couple of those cards. It's been a fun story to follow along.
Yeah,
I mean, I was there myself, to be honest, but it's good to relive the history.
There was a lot of things that said that a lot of people believed he was a better pitcher than Satchel Paige, which is crazy because Satchel Paige is one of the best pitchers of all time. So, I mean, I guess it's just on whose account they go off of, but the fact that he was even up in there in the conversation, plus he was the first, pitcher hitter that, before, Shohei Ohtani. Mm-hmm. So, and he had the numbers. Like, I think I did a comparison between the two, and at least in the pitching categories, Bullet Rogan just cleaned Shohei out. But that's,
wow.
I mean, Shohei hasn't pitched that much over the last couple of years, obviously. So
crazy. Well, that's our second nominee for the 2024 Diamond Icons on December 9th. Cowboy Jack Durango, you got number 3.
Curt Flood had an outstanding baseball career on the field with highlights that include 7 consecutive Golden Glove Awards from 1963 to 1969. He batted over 300 in 6 seasons, and he has a career batting average of .293. But Flood's most important contribution to professional baseball isn't on the field. It will forever be his off-the-field fight for free agency. I think this is what really kicks him into Diamond Icon status, is the legacy that he left. He took his fight as far as suing baseball commissioner Bowie Kuhn with the MLB for $1 million, alleging that their reserve clause violates antitrust laws. This went all the way up to the ladder, and a losing effort on the lawsuit in the Supreme Court. It was a sad outcome, but it inspired the players' union to keep fighting and pushing for free agency, which owners finally agreed to include in their contracts in 1975. This legacy continued, and in 1998, the federal government passed the Curt Flood Act of 1998. The act, passed by the 105th Congress and signed into law by President Bill Clinton, revokes baseball's antitrust status, save for expansion, minor leagues, and franchise relocation. It was a status that Major League Baseball had enjoyed for 75 years after the Supreme Court had ruled that baseball was ineligible for the status under interstate commerce. This act did exactly what Flood wanted to do. It stopped owners from controlling the players' contracts and careers. So, and Kevin and you and I have done a little bit of a deep dive into my hatred for Kennesaw Mountain Landis and what a corrupt organization the MLB is. And he's one of the good brothers fighting the good fight, dude.
Yeah, and Ford Frick.
Yeah, Curt Flood left a huge. I mean, that's what shaped baseball into what it is today. And your superstar players being able to jump from a garbage team like the Anaheim Angels to like a nice organization like the Dodgers. So here's to Curt Flood, dude.
Awesome, yes. And I remember, what was it, Sandy Koufax and John Drysdale, I remember holding out at that time. That were there was, I mean, this has been going on for a long time, and Curt Flood is finally the one that stood up to it and basically put his career on the line. And
yeah, I mean, he did. He sat out the entire 1970 season, and he was
killed his career.
Killed his career. He was getting death threats. Yeah. I think one of his teammates said he was getting like 5 death threats a day because he was sitting out. But he fought for what he believed in, and he made a change.
Definitely. So our third Diamond Icon nominee is Curt Flood. Thank you so much, Cowboy Jack. Kevin Lyon, you are up with our 4th nominee.
Sorry, Jack. I get to talk about one of your favorites here, David Mark Winfield, who you affectionately call Winnie Cowboy Jack. Let's talk about one of the greatest athletes of the second half of the 20th century. So Dave Winfield was born October 3rd, 1951 in St. Paul, Minnesota, one half of the Twin Cities. This guy here was great enough to where he was drafted in Major League Baseball, the National Basketball Association, and the NFL. Like, when's the last time you've had 2 sport athletes? When's the last time you had a potential 3 sport athlete? That would be Dave Winfield. So, fortunately for him, and fortunately for the San Diego Padres, he picked baseball. And what a career he had. There's so many accolades they can go through. Let me see, like 12-time MLB All-Star, let me see, 7-time Gold Gloves, 6-time Silver Slugger Award. I mean, but he had an amazing run, 3,000 hits, 465 home runs. That alone is Hall of Fame material. We could also talk about, I mean, that's all great.
The man got away with murder. The guy got away with murder.
Whoa. So I guess you're already putting it on the table for me, Cowboy Jack. Unfortunately for him, but something that we can talk about, on August 4th, 1983, Dave Winfield killed, maybe murdered a seagull by throwing a ball while warming up before the 5th inning of a game at Toronto's Exhibition Stadium. It is not the bird pictured on the left, just to clarify. I want to make sure people know that is not the bird that got hurt in question. Even though Dave Winfield is holding a bat next to that bird. And mind you, we talked about this. I don't even know if it's in the archives anymore, but Jack and I talked about this. He was actually taken in by authorities in Toronto when this incident occurred, believe it or not.
Yep.
It's a crazy story.
Canada.
Listen, I'm glad you said it, dude. I wasn't going to say it. Cat's out of the bag now, dude. What the hell was Canada thinking?
We're very protective of our animals.
Of a seagull?
Seagull, moose, polar bear, whatever we got up here.
Yeah.
There you go. I don't know of any other creatures up there, but regardless, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about this man who was an amazing player on and off the field. He also is known for being his philanthropy and community work. He has a foundation he's been running for years. And if you want some fun, go into our YouTube archives and watch the Hazy History Hour special on George Steinbrenner. You can find out all the fun about Dave Winfield being on the Yankees with George Steinbrenner. Brief highlights is him ripping apart Dave Winfield for not doing well in the postseason, calling him Mr. May, and literally like pretty much trying to just throw him out to the gutter and he up on the Angels, which Angels, you might as well be in the gutter if you're playing on the Angels, to be fair. But regardless, let me give you one other fun highlight. On Thanksgiving Day, 1981, Winfield saying, "I'll take Manhattan," atop the Big Apple float on the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Day parade after his team lost the World Series. And I'm sure George Steinbrenner was happy about that. But the man is a Hall of Famer, an all-time great. And recently, Michael Mondragon and everybody here watching, are you aware that he has a statue made of him that just got unveiled in Fairbanks, Alaska?
That's
Let's
right.
have that out there.
Yeah.
In case anybody ever goes to the Winter Sun game in Fairbanks, Alaska on the summer solstice for over a century, you can go see that statue.
Nice. Thank you so much for that. I mean, again, he's been on the ballot quite a bit, and he has a lot of stuff that's behind him.
And he's a favorite Jack and I. He's a favorite Jack and I. And then we add Jack. Do you remember he was on the Married with Children baseball episld? Yeah, that was a little extra
during the baseball strike in
little tickle the
94.
the day, if you will.
All right, Cowboy Jack, you're up next with the next nominee.
David Lee Wells was an outspoken pitcher that took the mound for the Yankees, Reds, Blue Jays, Tigers, Orioles, White Sox, Red Sox, Dodgers, and Padres. Wells' nickname is Boomer, and that is how I will be referring to him henceforth. Boomer was born in Torrance, California. Parents were never married, but he was raised by his mother, Eugenia, who was a proud member of the Hells Angels, also known as Attitude Annie. Wells grew up with the belief that his father, David Pritt, was dead. However, at the age of 22, he learned that Pritt was alive, tracked him down, and started a new relationship with him. Boomer was a hell of a pitcher, and he had an even bigger personality. Definitely one of those baseball personalities that you want to try to separate the art from the artist a little bit. He pitched a perfect game on May 17th, 1998. He's a 3-time All-Star. He had 2 World Series rings, won 239 games in his career, and put up 2,201 career strikeouts. This guy gets a little wacky. In 97, Boomer took the mound wearing an authentic 1934 Babe Ruth hat that he had purchased at an auction for $35,000. For $35,000. And manager Joe Torre made Wells take it off after the first inning because it didn't conform to the uniform standards. And I think what earns him his diamond icon status is he admitted to Bryant Gumbel on HBO's Real Sports that he wasn't in the best shape when he pitched that perfect game. He was suffering from what he called a raging, skull-rattling hangover. If this brother doesn't deserve to be in the Baseball Brew Crew Hall of Fame, we are doing something wrong. David Wells has definitely, pound for pound, earned his spot as a diamond icon.
Nice. So you're probably getting a little theme here that we like the colorful baseball players. And David Wells definitely fits that criterion. It's his first year on the ballot. And there's another, look at it, Kevin. What do you have there?
I have his book. So one time before, I just opened the book to a random page and just read something. So let's see what I will open up to. Well, I really just opened it, and this is him on his honeymoon, apparently. I'm like, oh gosh, what I opened up to. I'm going to just read you a paragraph. I'm going to do it. After years of her putting up with me and caring about me and not killing me when I probably deserved it, I finally wised up and asked Nina to marry me. Amazingly, she said yes. And with my heart soaring, our great big bells and whistles, fancy schmancy ceremony is all set for this weekend. We fall to New Zealand. That's where I got blindsided, ... and like it. I'm going to leave it at that.
So David Wells definitely fits. He cuts a look at that. Look at that profile. This was actually on the cover of Sports Illustrated, which we talked about before. We have in Allan's next segment, we have another Sports Illustrated cover that makes the cut. But yes, David Wells, you are a 2024 Diamond Icon nominee. We also have another pitcher who also bears a resemblance to him. So we're only doing 6 tonight. We're going to do 6 on our next show, 6 after that. And then, but yeah, you'll notice a resemblance to another person there. So Allan, why don't you take the last 2024 Diamond Icon nominee?
I think we got Jack first. Don't we? No?
Nope, you are up.
Oh, okay. Our final Diamond Icon nominee for this week is none other than Richard Anthony Allan, better known as Dick Allan. Born March 8th, 1942 in Wampum, Pennsylvania. Playing 15 years in the bigs for 5 different teams, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Chicago White Sox, Los Angeles Dodgers, St. Louis Cardinals, and then finishing up with the Oakland Athletics. R.I.P. Oakland. Carrying a few nicknames, he received the nickname Crash from legendary announcer, former player Bob Uecker, because of the helmet he always wore resembled a crash helmet. In 1972, while playing with the White Sox, sitting the second half of a doubleheader, hanging out at his locker, munching on a chili dog, the bat boy informed him he was needed to pinch hit. He told the bat boy to tell the coach, "I'm eating a chili dog." But quickly dressed and emerged from the dugout with 2 runners on, stepped up, hit a line drive home run to win the game. That year, Allan went on to win the MVP. Dick Allan was a career .292 hitter, hitting 351 home runs, collecting 1,800 hits. He was Rookie of the Year in 1964 while playing for the Phils. He was the 72 MVP. He was a 7-time All-Star, and he's been on the bubble to make the Hall of Fame many, many, many times. Just hasn't made it. So, cheers to Dick Allan.
Nice. And there's that Sports Illustrated cover. And one of the many dugout smokers of the 70s. There was also some in the 80s, Keith Hernandez, Jim Leland, Dave Parker, I think was. There's a famous picture of him as well. There's a lot of people who light up
the lung darts, brother.
The lung dart, brother. So he's awesome. And so the Wampum Walloper,
What?
Yes. So he actually, at the end of his career, in a tribute to his hometown, Wampum, Pennsylvania, right? Yeah. So, and if I'm not mistaken, the 60 has some significance as well. But yeah, he actually, at the end of his career, when he was in Oakland, he wore the wampum on the back. And I said, this is one of our favorite Pop Fly Pop Shop, who does awesome like comic style posters. Amazing. So this was the one for the Wampum Walloper, and I love like the Pennsylvania like sign right there. He's bigger than life. And again, if you go back in his career, like he's awesome. His Phillies number was retired in 2020. And he passed away December 7th, 2020. So at least he got to see it in his lifetime. And he's a very controversial character just for his being outspoken. But if you look back at his career, he was pretty amazing.
There was a lot of people that said he was a locker room cancer, but then you have teammates coming out totally against that. So they said he was a great guy in the locker room. Yes,
absolutely. Kevin, you were saying something? Nope. All right, so that is our first 6 diamond icons and we'll have 12 more over the next 2 shows. So definitely stay tuned for that. We're going to end with some rest in powers. Luis Tiant unfortunately passed away recently. Another man who definitely needs to be considered for Hall of Fame status. He is amazing, and his father was a very famed Negro League pitcher who was same name. And whenever we do, Kevin and I do the Immaculate Grid, we always use Luis Tiant, his father, as in one of the categories. But he was born in Cuba in 1940, pitched 19 seasons in the Major League Baseball, known as El Tiante. And if you've, for a more recent comparison, if you've seen Johnny Cueto pitch, he has a kind of a spin wind up, and you see his full back when he's pitching. And I actually have a picture of it at the end to show it. But he played with the Indians, the Guardians. It wasn't the Guardians at the time. Legacy here. Red Sox, Yankees, Pirates, and Angels. He was a 3-time All-Star. Led the American League in ERA in 68 in 1972. Won 229 games, 2,400 strikeouts. Obviously famous for his unique twisting pitching style. This guy was a juggernaut, pitched a shutout in the 1975 World Series. I believe that he also pitched, he threw 161 pitches in Game 5, came back in 2 games and actually pitched another 7 innings after that. And that's Game 6 where the Boston actually won, the Carlton Fisk famous home run. Like he actually could have lost that game, which is amazing. He threw a no-hitter in AAA before joining Major League Baseball. The Cuban flamethrower, Luis Tiant, rest in power. And so what do you guys have any remembrances of Luis Tiant? Kevin, Allan, I want to know from the youngest guy here, did you know this great pitcher?
I knew of him. I didn't follow much of it, of like the stats behind him and stuff like that, but it's crazy that he had 2,400 strikeouts and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how close he's gotten either.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's almost like basing the entrance into a Hall of Fame on people's opinion isn't the best way to do it when it comes to a numbers game, right?
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're getting to the point where it's like we're seeing the people that are in the Hall of Fame, and we're like, this guy isn't. So it's like it's getting to that point a little bit as well. So Kevin, you were saying?
Well, I was gonna say was I'm like he was so dominant with the Red Sox in that time period. Like in that 75 series, he pitched like multiple games. It's like nowadays you hear about guys pitching like 2 or 3 games. I think he pitched like back-to-back games in the World Series. It's crazy. Because he was, they were so reliant upon him to win that World Series.
Yep. He is in the Venezuelan Baseball Hall of Fame, so all is not lost. So, okay. But he needs to be in the real Baseball Hall of Fame, the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Our second, and it's a controversial one, but he has actually great history with the Baseball Brew Crew. It is the hit king, Pete Rose. Born in 41, played 24 Major League Baseball seasons, holds the Major League Baseball record of 4,256 hits. Charlie Hustle, 17-time All-Star. We can go on and on and on. Pete Rose, for Kevin and my generation, he was everything, and it was really sad to be on the other side of that, right, Kevin?
Absolutely. Like he was baseball. He was baseball. I mean, I don't know how to say it because he was like the best. You can't say the best home run here, but the guy who was just going to go out there and just literally Charlie Hustle put the most effort into every single game he played. This dude is serious on every single game. Yeah, it obviously showed on and off the field.
Yeah, so I mean, when he was playing with the Big Red Machine, later in the '80s when he was playing for Philadelphia, I mean, like baseball was kind of like in a, especially after like the strike and in '81, and it was like he was everything. And when you're growing up as well, Kevin and my age, I mean, Kevin's decades older than I am, possibly even more, But he was like on the baseball bunch, and he was so colorful, and so again the hit king. So rest in power to Pete Rose. He actually did we actually got him on Cameo to surprise Cowboy Jack a couple of years ago. So I said we have a great history with Pete Rose. So definitely sad to see him go. We're obviously really
about 18 months ago.
Yeah, so we're really sad to see kind of where all this other off the field stuff kind of went, but he's a diamond icon for us. So again, he'll be missed, and especially here at the Baseball Brew Crew. So this is a kind of an ironic picture as well. So there's Luis Tiant with that wind up, and so they faced each other in the World Series. Who knew that they would actually pass away within weeks of each other? So this is unfathomable. So thank goodness we still have Carlton Fisk, who's in this picture as well. I'm not sure who the umpire is, but yeah, this is a tough one for all baseball fans. Yeah, for sure. So thank you again. We are right on time. This is if this was a wrestling match, we'd be going home. Then we'd be right on time. This is where you can find us on all the socials: X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Guys, any last words for our big return? I'm so happy that we got to do this again. Again, it's like riding a bike, jumping back on. But please let us know your thoughts right now.
I had a great night, man. It felt good to get back on the horse, and follow me on Instagram at confirmed desperado. See what I'm getting up to. Pretty nonchalant, easy stuff. I'm just a suburban dad, and thanks to these gentlemen, I love baseball. And I mean, Allan, if you wouldn't believe it, before this show existed, I couldn't name 2 baseball players. And thanks to this show, I have a now lifetime love affair with baseball. And I don't want to get too excited, but my son recently said he wanted to try out baseball. And so, we're in the spring leagues. He's a beginner. So Follow me for the baseball dad, my introduction to baseball dad life, right?
Well, just show him David Wells and say, hey, you can get 21 years of being like this, and this is all you have to do.
Yeah, we're gonna go for a David Wells approach to baseball, boys. I mean, his mama was a Hell's Angel, so pretty much the closest we're gonna get for the boy, you know.
Well, our newest acquisition, Allan Jepsen, thank you so much for joining us. How did you feel being a part of all this?
Oh, it's awesome. You know, like I told you guys, I'm battling through a little bit of a head cold, but I wasn't going to miss it for the world. So I'm excited to contribute. I'm excited to #do the research, and excited to see where this goes.
Awesome. So this is going to be a little bit of a delay, but Kevin, how are you doing? Are you okay?
Me? I'm just, my internet is just giving out left and right. So I'm just like, what do I do?
Yes.
Take us out on a high note, kid.
Yes. Come on.
I'll get ready to go to my phone. And I'm like, show's over, isn't it?
Let's go.
Go home.
Near falls. Let's go. Take us out.
No, but we're going home. It's not you watch MJF and Will Ospreay and where are you in freaking Arkansas or Texas? Go right. The hour, not 59:58. Let's go home, brother.
Exactly. We need the muzzle, the blue velvet muzzle like MGF had. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you potentially next Monday. We never know. Stay tuned. But we will definitely be back in 2 weeks with another full session of the Baseball Brew Crew podcast. For Cowboy Jack Durango, for Allan Jepsen, for Kevin Lyon, I'm Michael Mondragon. We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Good night.